Hello everybody, my name is Jose Gonzalez, and today I'm going to persuade you into recycling. And you might ask yourself, why? Why should I bother? Recycling doesn't do anything, like it's right away. Well, no, you shouldn't. Instead, you should collect it, recycle it. Well, I'm going to tell you 4 key reasons on why you should recycle. That being the importance, the benefits, the myths, and the rules. Alright, we're going to start off with the importance. Recycling is really crucial for several reasons that contributes to environmental stability and conservation of resources. First, recycling plays a significant role in protecting the economic system and wildlife. And by recycling materials, we reduce the need of raw material extractions, which often leads to habitat destruction. For example, cutting down trees for paper. That really harms the animal habitats that live in trees and need trees. And by recycling, we help prevent that. We help prevent the endangerment of wildlife. Secondly, recycling converts to our natural resources. Many resources like forests and certain materials are limited to resources like paper. Helps save trees. While recycling plastics reduce the amount of waste that takes centuries to decompose. Additionally, maximizing the extractions in new metals and reduce the need of raw materials, like sand for glass. And thirdly, recycling saves energy. Producing goods for recycling materials typically requires less energy than making new materials. So basically, when recycling materials, we could basically make them with less energy, saving more power. For example, recycling a single bottle can actually make and create a 100-watt light bulb for less than 4 hours, 4 and I didn't even know that. That's very interesting. This energy conservation is a direct positive impact of our environment. Moreover, recycling reduces the need of harvest new materials, which can displace a community living near resources-rich areas. And by recycling, we lessen the demand for raw materials and thereby protecting both environment and people in this habitat. So basically, if we keep recycling, we're not gonna need, because materials are limited. So basically, we're not gonna be always like dependent on it, like shortage. And the energy saved through recycling translates in lower carbon footprints and reducing the greenhouse gas emission. This is especially important for combating the climate change, which is also really important why we should recycle, as it minimizes the methylene impression in the landfill. Finally, recycling can lead to significantly cost savings and generally cheaper in recycling waste than actually depositing it. So basically, it's actually really cheaper to recycle than having machinery clean up for recycling and waste. Additionally, financial incentives too, such as deposit returns, encourage more people to recycle, and reasons why you recycle. So now we're going to talk about the benefits. The benefits increases a healthier and better environment for everybody, such as us humans, of course, and animals, everything. And also, it saves a lot of energy. So for I say there's an estimate for this. There's an estimate of 10 plastic bottles can power a laptop for 24 hours. That's really interesting. Like I didn't even know that too. Like a lot of things I learned. And also it reduces the waste and pollution in materials and landfills and interior. It also helps the economy because I know people, for example, it has employment. If I say it goes roughly almost half a mil of employment, and it also increases the wages. I also have Renoview, Renoviews. I'm sorry, I can't say that word. It also has Renoviews for communities and offers a healthier and reduced amount. And okay, thirdly, we're gonna go on with the myth. Things that people think, but not really are true. People always think, oh, there's no point in recycling. Well, there really is. There've been tests and evidence that shows that recycling saves about over 15 million tons of carbon emissions in a year. That's crazy. And also, people might say, "Oh, recycling will end up just thrown away into trash." Well, not really. Most of recycling is used. It's also reusable. And people overall will say, "Oh, you shouldn't recycle that," but you should. And I recommend you recycle yourself or others. You could tell people to recycle for them or them. And finally, for my last reasons, why it's important to recycle. Now, recycling has numerous benefits, including positives, like I mentioned, and positive on stimulating the economy, and also in grants jobs, like I said. Besides creating jobs, the recycling industry stimulates the American economy by relying on dynamic sources of materials rather than important ones. Recycling also environmental benefits such as reducing waste, like landfills and environment, which cuts back on a harmful greenhouse gas, like I mentioned. It also converts important natural resources, preventing the spread of pollution, and it saves energy. So these, like I mentioned, I know I say it a couple times, but they're really important, and why? And when the plastic is sent to the landfills and not breaking down, this can really take a long time. So I say a long time to decompose. So that's why it's really important to recycle, because all this like plastic stuff, it will take like years for it to decompose. So it really is bad for us. So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope you learned something from this. Please recycle. Thank you. Bye bye.